Hey everyone, welcome back to the Yossi Schmidt Show. Today we have the great Myles Morell, video reporter with the Daily Caller up on Capitol Hill. Myles, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you. My name is Myles Morell, and I work with the Daily Caller News Foundation as a video reporter on Capitol Hill, but I also cover protests and events outside of Capitol Hill. And essentially, my job is to grab sound bites and clips to be posted on social media, such as X, Rumble, TikTok, etc. And some of my footage is also used in a lot of the stories that we publish. And my whole spiel is to kind of just grab sound bites of members of Congress saying certain things, and I'll occasionally do ambush interviews and ask them certain questions about any hot topic type of subjects and things that have been going on recently as far as current events.
So you'll ask them what they think about Trump's tariffs. There were
Yeah,
uh
like the about a week or two ago, I was asking specifically House Democrats if they would condemn the anti-Tesla protests in which dealerships are being vandalized and Tesla cars are being burned.
and some of them ignored you and some of them deflected the questions.
Yeah, some ignore, some condemned, and some just deflected or just tried to weasel their way out of it.
Because okay, I tried to be unbiased, so I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but um I think my audience knows where I stand on the Democrats. Actually, politicians as a whole, in my personal opinion, are really in it for themselves, and they're not in it for the people. That's
Yes,
my personal opinion.
I feel like the swamp is it's not really specific to one political party or faction. It's just a group of people in the DC area who have just been running the show for many decades. And I think the swamp and the establishment and all these, fancy terms we hear really extends across the country. They're in our local committees, they're in all these organizations, they're in all these nonprofits. It all just kind of ties in together, and it's, not exclusive to a political party or faction. It's just a group of people who want to maintain the status quo, don't want to see change, don't want to put the best interests of the American people at heart.
Right. So, and you just go in there and you hold everyone accountable, like the digital free press pushes reports to do. Last week there was an election in Wisconsin and Florida, I think. I put out a video. I actually have a strong stance against reporters endorsing. Even though my audience knows where I stand, I don't endorse. I say, I have no problem informing you, but you got to do your job and you got to make up your own mind. You got to look into where you want your candidates and what you got to do. I don't endorse. So I put out a video last week. I don't know if you saw it or not. I tried getting people to retweet it, repost it. Reporters, do your job. If you see something, say something. Hold everyone accountable. If you see something that's annoying, you see something that looks questionable, say something. And there might not be fraud or there will be fraud, whatever. I'm not saying there is fraud. Just you see something, say something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are too afraid to say certain things because they're afraid of how others will react or the potential consequences that haven't even happened. They're thinking of that. And a lot of people, they see something, they won't say something about it because they're afraid of what could potentially happen if they do say something. But I believe that's not how people should think. I think that if you do see something you don't like, you should definitely speak up. You should definitely speak out, especially when it's something that other people are very unaware of, or it's not making the mainstream media headlines. It's not the most talked about thing, but it could be more important than the thing that's most talked about. Like for weeks and weeks and weeks, everybody's talking about President Trump's tariffs. But here's the thing: how exactly important and impactful are President Trump's tariffs on the rest of the country? I'm sure they definitely are, but there are so many other things going on in this country that just might be a distraction that the mainstream media likes to just throw out there to get people to think of other things and distract them from thinking of other things that could potentially affect them even more.
True. So that's another thing I noticed with the mainstream media, the legacy media, where they put things that are not news as news and breaking head, and it bothers me. With my TDFP news roundup, with my WhatsApp status, with my my TD Free Press X account, I try to only post what's actually news as opposed to like breaking AOC got a ticket. I don't care. She's human. I mean, I might not like her, but who cares? She got a ticket, so she got a ticket. Moving on in life.
Yeah. I think the right has a huge issue where they just focus on the wrong things. Like, for instance, say AOC does get a ticket. That's just, something that happens to just about anyone. And another example is, she used to be a bartender, so what? That does not affect me. That does not affect you. That doesn't affect anybody. They should be attacking her on the thing she stands for and the type of bills that she's introducing rather than who she is as a person. And I think people just in general often focus on the wrong things and attack each other for the wrong reasons in order to get a leg up on each other. But a lot of these things, they don't affect everyday people like you and me.
Correct. So my goal, and I think you're basically saying you agree with it, is to cut out the fluff and just bring the actual news. That's what the goal with the Digital Free Press, formerly Team One Supporter, is. We just put real news out, and that's the story with the news roundup. The news roundup is 20 stories. I narrowed it down to 20 stories. 20 stories a day, and we just give you the top stories all in the article with the link to the actual article, because I'm not a reporter yet. One day I'll be a team of independent journalists. I'll have people working for me, but right now it's just me. Give you a list of the articles, link to the actual site. In the roundup post, I credit the reporter, credit the news agency, and yeah, I'll admit I do use NBC. I do use ABC. I'm trying not to, but I verify it first. Got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Top story, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to make sure you're looking at all types of media sources because everybody reports things differently, and any sort of situation or any sort of statement from someone can be spun to fit any sort of narrative. So it's very important and vital that you look at as many news sources as possible. You look at all angles of what happened, and you just kind of, form your own opinion on what really is going on.
You got to learn how to read between the lines.
Yeah, because there's always a hidden meaning, there's always a hidden message. Headlines are, in my opinion, they're mostly clickbait. They're meant to capture your attention so that way you read the rest of the story. And a lot of these headlines, they're catchy and they throw little, punchlines in there that have nothing to do with the actual story itself. But the whole purpose is to just to capture your attention so you read through the entire story.
Right. And also, I noticed another thing. You're not. I don't know if you write articles, whatever. Even if you do, I don't think that you choose the picture to go with it. But I noticed like they make Kamala Harris look bad in the picture, or they may Trump look bad in the picture.
Yeah, they use all these pictures that might not even have anything to do with the actual story, but the whole purpose is to paint a bad picture on who they're trying to write the story about. Like they might choose a picture of Kamala Harris where she was looking a little rough to talk about something that really isn't as bad as it may seem, but because the picture is right under the headline, it could, also be used to spin the narrative to fit a certain way. And they do that with Trump a lot. They don't choose his best pictures or his best shots on purpose to make him look bad, specifically to make him look bad. And they do that with pretty much any public figure or anyone in politics. They do that on purpose to kind of fit in with their little headline and fit in with their little underlying message on what they're trying to put out there.
Right. So this is why the Digital Free Press is dedicated to building up independent journalism, because it's time to ditch the mainstream media. It's time to move away. Now, is independent journalism always going to be the best? No. but it's better than mainstream media.
I do think it's been growing and it's been on the rise recently. Everyone just kind of starting to realize that everybody has a phone, every phone has a camera, and just about anyone can do reporting. Anyone can capture a moment, anyone could spread the word on something and show people what's going on. And I think people in general are starting to mistrust mainstream media even more. And that's why, CNN and MSNBC and even Fox News, their ratings are starting to plummet, and more people are starting to want to see things for themselves, and they're starting to trust other people who are actually in the thick of the action, doing things on their own. And independent journalism, in my opinion, is very underrated, and I think it's starting to become more popular. Both independent and citizen journalism are starting to become more popular than they've ever been before.
Right. So like I said, it's the only way forward. Time to ditch the mainstream media. The people don't realize it, but we made them the mainstream media. By tuning into them, we could just move away from them. Big tech also, we made them big tech. Just move away from them, and they're no longer big tech. Again, it's harder said than done, but that's the way it is. We, the people, are in charge. The same with elected officials, the same with everything. We, the people, are in charge. People don't realize, oh, they're so much bigger than me. Every person makes a difference.
Absolutely. And the mainstream media sure loves to complain about people like Donald Trump, when in reality, he was probably the best thing that ever happened to them. He kept them alive a little bit longer, because there's always been a story with President Trump. That's the thing about him. He's always saying something and doing something that people deem as newsworthy. And I think the mainstream media got a little too cocky with that. President Trump was something that was giving them higher ratings and a bigger audience. So they just continued reporting fake news on him. And eventually people over time started to catch on to that. And they just got tired of it. And that's why, mainstream media just doesn't seem as trustworthy as it once was.
Correct. And that's why the people, or as the Republicans like to say, or I don't know, the people like to say, that the silent majority is waking up. There's no longer a silent majority. People are talking. Elon likes to say the you, the people, are the news now. He's right in a way. He's right, because people are starting to post what they see. People are starting to post news. They're starting to post unfiltered news, which is what the mainstream media hates, because they want to quote Dan Bongino. They're not telling you the story. They're telling you a story. They're spinning it in a way that fits their narrative. And then you are up front on Capitol Hill. You're videoing, and sometimes you're ambushing them, sometimes you're not, but you are putting out unfiltered news.
Yes, I do think it's very important to give people an upfront perspective of what's going on, because it's like you said, people put images and videos of the past that might not even have anything to do with the story. I think a better news story and a better news article has a moment that goes along with it.
Yeah, 100%. And when I just have to bring this up. Sometimes I saw a Daily Caller. I don't know who runs their social media account, but I've seen the Daily Caller saying, "Hey, that's Myles Morell's video." People use your videos without giving you credit, which annoys the living daylights out of me, because that's another thing that drives me. People like ripping off content. It's not that hard to make your own content. If you just got out of there, instead of sitting on your couch in mommy's basement, get up and do something. I mean, I just got up and started doing something. Yeah, I'm posting. I'm trying to cut through the noise. I am sitting in my office. I am not. But one day, the goal is to actually hold everyone accountable and start pushing and moving. And that's what I'm doing now. People need to stop stealing content without giving credit. That's what I do with the roundup, and that's what I do with the news. Give credit.
Absolutely. It's very important to give credit, because In the mainstream media, in journalism, and just the media in general, a lot of people want to steal other people's content. They'll remove their watermark, or they won't, put the name of the person who got the video or the name of the person who interviewed member XYZ or public figure XYZ. They kind of want to just take credit for themselves and not give credit to where credit is due. And yes, thank you for bringing that up. People should definitely know clearly that I'm the one who is getting these videos that are getting hundreds of thousands of views and thousands of likes, in some cases even millions of views. I'm the one getting these videos, so it's very important that people know that. And I'm trying to grow my own social media account and reach out to my own audience in addition to the Daily Caller News Foundation. So yes, thank you for bringing that up. That's very important.
Like I said, I consider this an honor to interview you because I am a big fan of your work. And if I ever use your video, I will always give you credit because, again, it's your video. You're the one that's asking the questions. You're the one that's being ignored or being deflected. You're the one. And people are just going to be, oh, it's John Doe's video. No, it's not. It's Myles' video. Stop. What do you mean? I'm the one that... No, you downloaded it and you reposted it. Give credit.
Yeah.
It's not so hard to give credit.
It's not. There's been several instances where I see my video on a conservative influencer's social media, and I'm just like, I didn't even know they were posting this, let alone did they give me any credit. I saw one of my videos on Benny Johnson's Instagram, and I just happened to come across it just because I follow him. But imagine if I didn't follow him and I had no clue that he was using my video, and that just gets really infuriating sometimes.
And they build their audience off your video.
Yeah, they're building their own audience off of the footage that I was there to capture. The video in question was actually a little clip of Nancy Pelosi when she was using a walker after she had hip surgery to kind of let people know, like, hey, she's got all this security. She's being escorted to a car. Like, we need term limits in Congress because it's just ridiculous. There are people who have been there for 40 plus years. I don't think that Hakeem Jeffries is actually the leader of the House Democrats. I still think Nancy Pelosi is really making all the decisions, and he's just serving as a mouthpiece. I feel the same way in the Senate. I feel like Mitch McConnell is still making all the decisions for the Senate Republicans. It's not John Thune. It's really just these same people that have been there so long, and we're just in dire need of term limits. We need to get big money out of politics. Lobbyist influence also needs to go. It's just all these things that I think people across all areas of the political spectrum can definitely agree on and come together and advocate for.
Correct. And the people in Congress, let's just go back to the beginning. The people in Congress, people in the Senate, people, even in the bureaucrats. I mean, Doge is doing great exposing the bureaucrats, but that is what the swamp elitists are. They think they don't work for us. They work for their own benefits. But the truth is, no, you work for us. Enough is enough. If we say we don't want USAID money going to this and that and the third, we do it. Not Maxine Waters saying, how dare you, this is USAID and use the... No, we say what we want. Enough. No reason to be, oh, but we're... No, you're not better than us. We put you there. We're the ones paying your salary. Stop it. Not the Lindsey Graham saying we need to go to war with you for Ukraine. If the people say we don't want it, we don't want it. If the people say we don't want money going to Israel, even if I say I'm a Jew, I want it. The majority of the people say they don't want it. They don't want it.
Absolutely.
You represent us, not yourself.
Absolutely. And as I was saying earlier, the swamp, the establishment, the bureaucracy, the elites, they extend outside of DC. They are in our local GOP and Democrat committees. They're in all these nonprofits nationwide. They're in the mainstream media. They're in even a lot of these smaller media outlets. They are all over the place. And a lot of these people, and you can kind of tell who they are just by off of how they treat you and how they act. I think, you know, a big issue in DC is a lot of people immediately when they meet someone new, they instantly want to give them their job title. They want to, you know, let them know, oh, I'm person XYZ. They want to immediately talk about their title and things of that nature. And they want to just kind of size you up and make it feel like, oh, it should be an honor that you're in my presence. No, everybody should be treating everybody the same. We're all human beings at the end of the day. I don't care what your title is. I don't care what organization you work for. I don't care how prestigious you think you are. You're going to treat me the same as how I'm going to treat you. And I think that's just, you know, a step in the right direction and something we all need to do. I think we all need to stop licking each other's boots and trying to, you know, get things out of each other. We need to start treating each other as human beings because that is what we are. And that is how you can humble a lot of these bureaucrats and elites who just have been running the show and think they're better than everyone.
Right. It's time for us to hold everyone accountable. All right, Myles, thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you have any closing remarks and anything you want to plug?
So I'll just leave everybody with this. For many, many decades, the swamp, the elites, the bureaucracy, the deep state have been running the show, but we can't let them do it anymore. We can't continue to let them control our lives. We have to stand up. We have to unite together. We have to unite together across all ends of the political spectrum and realize that everybody on the top is working together. And they use divide and conquer to try to have us destroy ourselves from the inside out. So, you know, I'm glad that President Trump is back in office. I honestly think right now he's the best option we have to really take down the elites, take down the deep state, take down the bureaucracy. He's been calling them out ever since he got into politics and even before then. And so we got to stand by him. What he's fighting for us, and we got to really make change in this country and in the town of Washington D.C. You know, enough is enough.
Yes, thank you again. Everyone, I'll see you after Passover. Hold everyone accountable. And thank you, Myles, for being the last podcast before Passover.
Also, one more thing. Follow me on Twitter. That's Myles, Myles, Morell, Morell.
I'll link to it in the show notes down below. And follow Myles for the real source of all those videos.
Thank you.